Right, hi there guys, Adam here again for Dirtbox, and today I've got a pedal that people have been requesting I do a demo of for well over a year now. So finally had some time this morning to get round to it. Yep, today we have the 5-knob version of the legendary BK Butler or Butler Audio Tube Driver with the added bias knob on the back. This is one of the newer versions. I bought this about 18 months ago. 18 months? Yeah, it was around 18 months ago. I think it was October last year. October 2009 that I bought this. Yeah, so it's one of the newer versions, but I believe Mr. Butler has been making these since the 70s and then ceased production, I believe, sometime in the 90s and took it up again in the 2000s because the demand for them was absolutely massive. Yeah, so I ended up paying, by the time I paid shipping from the USA and tax once it got here, I ended up paying nearly 300 quid for this, which was a lot more than I anticipated and a lot more than I've ever spent on a pedal before. By a good £100 or so, possibly more. Yeah, but there's just something about the Tube Driver. I'd wanted one for years, probably 4 or 5 years, ever since sort of first hearing Eric Johnson. I thought, I'm just going to get one and see what it's like. And if I don't like it, then at least I can sell it and probably get most of my money back. Anyway, so I plugged it in for the first time and I thought, it's yeah, it's alright, but I didn't really get the big deal. And it took well over 6 months to start to break down this pedal into chunks of sound that I really liked. And now I've got 1 or 2 settings, and I wish I had 2 or 3 more to cover various dirt needs. But anyway, yeah. So obviously the Tube Driver has been immensely popular. He started making them in the 70s, throughout the 80s and 90s. Eric Johnson, David Gilmour, Satriani. Who else? There's another big name guy that I can't think of that used these as well. But pretty much every pro guitar player in the world's used these at some point. So anyway, without further ado, let's open it up and let's take a look at the insides. Just before we do that, I should also mention the controls. Relatively straightforward. The out level is like kind of the volume basically. There's a lot of volume boost available. It's unbelievable how loud this gets when you crank it. And then of course we have the EQ section, the high and low EQ section. High and low band, sorry. And finally the tube drive, which is the amount of overdrive, distortion, clipping, whatever you want to call it. Plenty of gain on top, and the bias pot on the back. Right the way around, the positive is the full full voltage is getting sent to the valve, and as you go around, it's counterclockwise, it starves the voltage, and so you get less gain and a bit more sort of loose compression. And yeah, it gets almost a little bit sort of fuzzy and a little bit unpredictable. And the idea of that knob is to simulate different valve types, because I believe you can put anything in this from a 12AX7, 12AU7, 12AT7 for different amounts of gain, distortion, volume, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, for I think it's like an extra £60 or something, you get this kind of voltage starve function. Right, so here it is open. I haven't got a lot to talk about because, if I'm honest, I don't actually know a lot about the Butler Tube Driver circuit. Taken it apart before, obviously, and had a look inside and look around. But yeah, it's just a bit, the kind of engineering, the complexity of it is just a little bit beyond kind of where I'm at the moment, so I can't talk too much about the technical details or anything. But as you can see, very well made. Everything looks absolutely neat. The solder joints, if you can see behind there, if I don't break it in the meantime, the solder joints look really good, as you'd expect when you're paying, you know, nearly 300 quid for a pedal. And a guy that's been doing this for like over 40 years or something now. It's yeah, I just really thought I'd give you a little bit of sort of candy and show you the insides rather than talk about it too much. Apparently a hand selected valve by Mr. Butler himself, which is apparently kind of optimised to work with this circuit. Oh, one thing I will mention actually is that although Mr. Butler will of course sort of tweak the circuit and sort it out so it runs on the voltage of your country, is what I'm trying to say. Because obviously voltages around the world are different. He won't put on any other plug other than kind of the new USA standard 3-prong ones. So if you want to use it in the UK or Europe or anywhere else in the world that doesn't use this type of plug, you're going to have to get yourself either a little adapter or install a 3-pin plug yourself, or, you know, take it to a tech or something like that. I've just been using an adapter and I've had absolutely no problems with it. So again, sorry I don't actually know a lot about this, but I will say it, obviously it looks extremely well made. It's very, very high quality, very sturdy. The other guitar player in my band actually stood on this when we were doing the gig over summer. He stood on this, flicked it off the pedal board and sent it across the room, and there was not a scratch on it, which was fortunate for him, because otherwise I was going to kill him. Right, so finally guys, let's get to some playing. Here's a basic clean tone, touch of reverb and delay. What I'm going to do is we'll just start with everything at roughly 12. For now, I'll put the bias right round on to full, or, you know, unaffecting the sound anyway. I'm going to kick that on. Not bad, a kind of little sort of fuzzy tone. Yeah, so that's just, you know, not how you should always, but how I always kind of start. I just take stuff out the box, put everything on 12, and then generally that gives you an idea of whether you're going to like it. And when I first heard this tone, actually, I thought, well, I've paid 300 quid for a slightly decent fuzz sound. But yeah, first impressions are of course not always the right impressions. So let's go through this a bit more systematically. So generally people who drive valve-driven, who buy valve-driven pedals like this, as you can expect, it's going to be for some kind of lead tone into a clean channel generally. So let's start there. We'll just take off all this reverb and delay. So let's start there. So I mean, you can get some pretty decent kind of rhythm sounds. And already it's starting to sound a lot fatter and warmer, and all I've done there, it's a shame that I can't work out a system where you can see this at the same time. Perhaps not the safest option, but it might be quite good for now. Yeah, the tube driver is just up on kind of 6. The low is being boosted slightly, the high is cut, and the output level just set at around kind of unity. Already a lot fatter and warmer, and like I said, you can get some pretty decent, like kind of British kind of rhythm sounds out of this as well. Yep, so it's quite good. It's I don't go too loud in here, but when everything's kind of cranked up, it gets good. So I'll show you one I was talking about earlier, just how ridiculous the volume boost is on this, and I know for a fact the mic's going to clip. But let's just see from here. I'll try turning down the mic input a bit so you can see what this sounds like when the volume's on full. It's absolutely monstrous. A lot of boost at the high end, gets very harsh up there. And that's actually going to flatten most of my house, it stays up there. It probably won't carry over just how loud that is, but if you get one of these pedals for yourself or have a chance to try it out, you will see it's absolutely ridiculous. Right, so let's hear. Everyone wants to know what the gain sounds like on full. It starts to get kind of nice and fuzzy, and then if you crank all of these dials up as well onto full, it gets ridiculously kind of fuzzy. I don't really get it. So you see, for every kind of good and usable tone, there's an equally bad and pointless tone. Now I'll also show you kind of the effect that the sort of tube starving, the bias voltage thing kind of has. So I'll just play a chord and I'll turn that down. When it's rolled right down the neck. Starts to get a little bit kind of glitchy when it's right rolled off. I found the sweet spot for it, funny enough for me anyway, is more or less in the middle, and set up, what was it, it was something like this. Gives you a nice kind of thick, crumbly fuzz sort of rhythm sound. A little bit unpredictable, a little bit crumbly. I like it. I like it like that. Okay, now I know this demo hasn't been the most coherent one, but it's not the most coherent pedal. You really have to try with it to get what you will. I'll show you. I saw a video of Eric Johnson a couple of days ago, and he had it set up something like this. He had an already, I got the lead channel. Already have a lead channel. EJ had it set up like this. He just rolled off the EQ all the way, and you get this really nice boost, sustainy fuzz sound. Turn the volume up a bit there. And that's somewhere like how EJ gets the kind of violin tone. I'll roll off the gain a little bit more for my personal preferences. So there you have it, guys, the BK Butler Tube Driver 5-knob version. Now I'm sorry that just purely for time constraints I haven't been able to go through everything that this pedal offers. I mean, there's an absolute myriad of hundreds and probably thousands of tones you can get by using the bias knob in conjunction with the active EQ. The amount of volume has a big effect on the tone, obviously. It's a really complex pedal, and it's not your kind of plug in and play pedal. It has to be tweaked. I find when I'm playing live it has to be tweaked to sound just right for every venue I play in. At the moment, as I played through at the beginning and the end there, my favourite setting is with the kind of tube drive knob kind of halfway and the bias at kind of halfway, just to give a little bit of unpredictability. Roll off all of the EQ and you just get like a kind of nice, smooth, clear boost. Not transparent by any means at all. It sucks a lot of kind of, dare I say, mid-range and some treble, but it's really getting us somewhere near that Eric Johnson violin, the £1,000 violin type sound, you know what I mean? So apologies again that this demo hasn't been as coherent as some of the others. Hopefully you've still enjoyed it, and hopefully it's whet your appetites to at least go and try this pedal if you can get a hold on one. If you can get your hands on one or get a hold of it, is what I was trying to say. Yeah, it is a lot of money to spend on what's essentially kind of distortion fuzz box, but it is extremely well made, as you saw from the inside. It's popular for a reason. If you put in the time and really work with this pedal with your setup, you can get it. You can get some truly unique and fascinating tones that just inspire you to play some more. Thanks very much for watching again, guys. Just doing this demo has inspired me to go and write a tune again based on the Tube Driver. Again, sorry it wasn't the most coherent demo compared to some of the others, but I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something. Until next time, guys, keep checking out Dirtbox.